folks, it's Matt Doody here again with another build on my PvP escorts. One or two changes which I'd just like to update you guys on since the last video, which was a couple of months ago now. So hopefully, this might help. Okay, going through. Since the re-engineering has been introduced to the game, I've gone back to a more traditional single energy type build, purely because I have some pretty decent anti-proton dual heavy cannons that were crit D4 or crit D3, which are now all crit D4. This one is a crit D3 pen. You see that I've changed the epic mod to crit D and damage rather than ACK damage, which is a standard. So with this one, crit D damage, crit D times 4, and if you check the crit severity rate, you get 10% crit severity there on top because it's a dual heavy cannon, and 120% crit severity because it's anti-proton based, which get an innate 20% crit severity anyway. So I've gone back to those as my forward weapons. I've altered the mod a little bit for damage crit D times 4 for my Herald, and I've just noticed that I've not actually changed the epic mod for this one. I was going to get around to it at some point, and yeah, I suppose now is a good a time as ever. So let's click on the re-engineering. As soon as you just right click re-engineer item, see these are all locked, so I want to unlock the ACK damage mod, which is the epic mod, and these are now the available mods to roll from. So it'll cost 800 lithium for opening up just a single mod. Salvage costs 400. See, it's a little cheaper on dilithium if I'm going to open up 2. Get a bit of a discount on there, but the salvage cost is still 400 per mod roll. Let's click on randomize on that. ACK crit H. So I'm looking for the crit D damage. Again, total RNG. There we go. 4 rolls for the desired mod combination that I wanted. So now, as you can see, that's crit D damage, crit D times 4, and if you check down the bottom there, 100% crit severity with obviously the 110 from being a DHC, and that's what I wanted out of my weapons. Crit D4 for anti-proton, or effectively a crit D times 5 with a damage mod. Okay, quickly moving on. The Elite Fleet Preservation Proton Matter Deflector. You can actually re-roll these as well if you re-engineer. You can pick whatever you want. Just please, people, the Coal Crit mod, don't re-roll that. That will lose everything that's special about this deflector, because as you can see, you get the plus 15 crit severity and plus 4% crit chance based on your hull. That comes from the Coal Crit mod. So if you want to re-roll, just don't re-roll that one. Still using the competitive 3-piece, the engines, warp core and shield. Again, as most people would know, this gives, as a 3-piece set, quite a large damage resistance, energy damage resistance bonus. In the rear, simply because they are turrets, I've got a couple of the sensor linked turrets. One of them I've re-rolled and one of them I've not. It doesn't really matter. These are not going to do a massive amount of damage. but they have helped improve my defensive manoeuvring and my crits for weapons. Only a very small amount, but just trying to squeeze every last drop out of the bonuses I can for this build. Okay, I've recently unlocked, like most of you have, the anniversary event ship. So I've not got the heavy weapon upgraded to epic yet, but I think this is going to be my new favourite. I don't have the Sheller from the Zinkethi Escort on this character yet. It's something I might buy later on down the line, but for now there's no reason to. I've got a fantastic heavy weapon. It didn't cost me a thing, just a few minutes a day of my time. And this, yeah, I've seen this hit for very, very high amounts. Now, as you can see, well, as I've explained, I don't really deal with the accuracy mod on weapons. But for me, I don't think it's a very useful mod to have. It is a useful mod, but I think there are other sources of accuracy that you are able to pick up. So for me, accuracy for weapons is a stay clear of area. Now, the Domino console, which we get from the Bajoran Interceptor, that comes with plus 20 accuracy right there. It's a pretty good console. So people that have watched my previous videos will notice that I was running a bit of a rainbow build before, with a Quantum Phase 2-piece for the plus 15 accuracy, the Martok 2-piece again for 2.5% crit chance and plus 15 accuracy. I've dropped them both, and now my accuracy is a little bit less than what it was, but only by a rating of 10. But I'll come to this a little later on. Okay, so a Resolve console, it goes and it comes back. Recently I've changed this a few times again. I've tried throwing the Martok console back on there for a little extra hull. I do lose some turn rate for switching this console out. Alternatively, I've been using the console from the Walker class starship, which is the USS Shenzhou in Discovery, for viewers of that show. Now, having this and Domino effect, having the Domino console does put my accuracy back up to 107, and it's a pretty fun console by itself. It's got a bit of a cheat death clicky, which when it works it is fantastic, although it doesn't work 100% of the time in PvP. If you activate it while you're being shot at but you don't have your Zal yet activated, there's a good chance you will die. So if you have the Zal console and you want to activate this, make sure you activate this within that 8 seconds of Zal, or if you don't have that trait, or if you run continuity, again, same problem. It overrides continuity for some reason. I believe the bug has been reported, but when it gets fixed, we'll see. But let me just scroll back and show you the visual you get from activating this console. So you will be held, you won't be able to move, you won't be able to target, but you will also be untargetable and potentially unkillable in the right circumstances. You also get a massive heal and get a bonus damage percentage of 120%, equal to the amount of time you have the console active. So let's just give that a click. See, I went to 0% there, a massive 75k heal. So I went right down then right back up. and that's where I think the bug lies. But I mean, just look at that. That is beautiful. And by the time you get back, your shields, they're going to be fully healed. You're going to be fully healed with your hull, and you are going to have a pretty decent damage bonus, which you can obviously stack or boost with other sources. Okay, bioneural infusion circuits. Again, it's a staple for most TAC builds. You know, you get your hull cap, which for an escort, you know, can be quite handy. You get your crit severity, you know, critical severity, especially on an anti-proton build such as this, or on any build where you're relying on crit D mods. It's, you know, it's what it's there for. You know, that's why crit D is so sought after. Okay, regenerative integrity field from the Kibali Samsar, from an anniversary event a couple of years back. Seems just like last week when I was grinding just to dust to get that ship and get that set. I still have nightmares about that mission. I'm sure people that have played it can empathise and relate to that one. But the use of this console is, yeah, it pays off. It's, you know, it's worth it. Okay, another console that I like to have on is the Tachyo Kinetic Converter. A little bit of a crit chance, a little bit of crit severity. I use this mainly for the extra turn rate. A bit of control expertise, which is nice. It goes, you know, complements nicely with the bioneural. It's basically just the rich man's, not rich man's, but you know, it's the paid version, or the grind out, more so ground out version than the Borg console. DPRM from the prototype Dreadnought. You can pick this ship up for a couple of 100 million. It's well worth the grind. Probably don't recommend opening the lot boxes for it unless you need the lobby to get, you know, the consoles or the ship sets. If you're a Klingon, Romulan, you know, but again, the keys, yeah, you just buy, sell on the exchange, buy low, sell high, and eventually you'll get what you want. So get this from the prototype Dreadnought as a Fed, or just straight up off the exchange as a Romulan or Klingon. It's still one of the best, if not the very best console in the game for both damage and resilience. A couple of locators, got anti-proton. I know that I'm using a mixed energy type here with the, you know, the two phaser turrets in the back, but again, phaser turrets, they don't deal a lot of damage, so I'm going to squeeze that tiny extra little bit of Cat 1 damage I get by using the anti-proton consoles. Let me just compare this to a cannon console. I know it's an exploiter, but the crit chance is the same for all locators, and the damage, look, you see it's slightly different, so 32.8 to 37.5. So I'm losing, well, I'm actually gaining 15% Cat 1 damage there just by having those consoles instead of the cannon ones. Which again, if you want to get, you know, technical on that, the 15% phaser damage bonus you get towards the Centrelink consoles, you know, but again, not a big deal. Okay, a simulator console from the Borg Reputation. Crit chance, crit severity, weapon power, control expertise. As you can see, it's very, very similar to the Tachyo Kinetic. You only lose a little bit of crit severity, but you gain +5 weapon power. And of course, essential for really most PvP builds, especially if you are a tactical, running, you know, fighting against other escorts. Weapon sensor enhancer from the Lobby store again. Epic 40% accuracy rating. You get a bit of, you know, control expertise, which again is nice. Stops the old tractor beams and gravity wells holding you so much. It's yeah, pretty solid console, but mainly it's used for the accuracy. And as you can see here, devices, target lock, +50 accuracy rating for 20 seconds, only affects weapons. So when fully stacked, my accuracy is pretty decent. Bridge officer abilities remain unchanged, simply because for me this is the perfect combination. Cannon rapid fire 3, you know, more haste, more damage to your cannons, boosted by attack pattern Omega 1. As you can see there, 50% bonus damage, gives you some flight speed, gives you some turn rate, gives you a little bit of damage resistance and a bit of defense, but mainly it's for the damage you get from that, and a little bit of turn rate if you're in a serious dogfight. Tac Team 2, it's a good cleanse. It's you know, it'll cleanse some debuffs that are on you. Now, okay, Firewall 1. Now, when I said it's a perfect combination for me, I've recently changed my traits up. I'll come back to this one in a minute, and yeah, explain why I've changed my traits. I'm just testing something out. It's not definite for my trait setup right now, but I will go through a few different combinations of trait setups, because I really appreciate that not everybody has the same ability or say the same traits as I have. Okay, power to weapons 3, does what it says on the tin, you know, bonus damage, +40 weapon power settings, increases your weapon power, which you need to stay as high as you can for as long as you can. I'm still running double ox to bat, so that's my bridge officer abilities on global all the time, so they're more available to be used. Engineering team, because you know everybody needs to heal. Emergency power to engines 3, okay, gets me out of a sticky situation, and with the duty officer that I'm running, the emergency condoff, it recharges my evasive maneuvers that a little bit faster. Another ox to bat to help cool down the first source of it there, and causal reversion. Now it's a little bit of a heal. Again, another fantastic cleanse. It removes dots and entropy. Not that anybody really uses entropy build-ups in PvP anymore, but it is a nice cleanse. Pilot team and Lambda. Again, if you've got pilot abilities, use them. Get out of jail free. Accuracy buff, again, accuracy debuff on your enemies. So if they're using accuracy, if they're using attack pattern Lambda on you, and you have the same amount of accuracy, it's the person with the highest Lambda that's gonna, you know, get more shots off on the enemy. And I'm running polarized hull 1 for the slight damage resistance and immunity to the tractor beams, which can be a pain in those high control builds. Okay, let's move on to traits. Again, still very much untouched from before, so still running ablative shell. gives you a bit of a heal, a bit of damage resistance. It's pretty decent. Once every 30 seconds, it's not too bad. Superior accurate again. Everybody will get the accurate trait as standard. If you're a, you know, Federation, Romulan, Klingon, doesn't matter. Everybody gets it. And you get the superior version from Deep Space K7. Same goes for the elusive. Again, superior version comes from K7. Now the rest of these traits either come from the Infinity Lockbox or are free. So superior cannon training, you do get a 5% bonus from the standard cannon training one. At 2.5% Cat 2 you get with the superior version. I'll leave it down to you to see whether it's worth it or not. Repair crews, again, the longer you stay in battle, the longer or more of a bonus you get with this trait. I think it's pretty decent. It can help diminish the, the effects of certain traits and debuffs that come on you, as long as they are at a reasonable pace and not super debuffed by, let's say 2 science captains in Karat working in tandem on their Romulan characters attempting to Vapier. Jacob and MT. Anyway, Good Day to Die allows you to activate your go down fighting whenever you feel like it. Again, just pretty standard stuff. Point blank shot, the closer you are to the enemy, the more damage you deal. And secret command codes: heal when you're held by a control effect, damage resistance, resist to confuse, disable hull blockade. It's a pretty solid PvE and PvP trait. Okay, going along to my starship traits. First one, superior pedal to the metal. Now, I would have gotten rid of this trait a while ago if this were not the superior version. If you've got the advanced pedal to the metal with 20% Cat 2 damage, yeah, okay, maybe you'd keep it depending on the other traits you have available, but the 30% you get at maximum stacks, I can't lose it. I just cannot lose it. I stay moving when I'm in a fight, and if I were to stop and change my tactics up, I suppose maybe yes, I would reconsider this trait. But for now, if you're one of the players like myself who likes to keep moving, likes to try and win a fight by out-turning the enemy, superior pedal to the metal is for you. Now, Xol trait can be sub-nuked off if you hit, but it can be extremely useful in PvP and PvE situation. It's basically a warning which it tells you when to get out of a fight. If you're at 0 and if your Xol hits, you get out of a fight at that very moment, otherwise you will die. Or if you can't get out of the fight, this is where the Walker console comes in handy. Once your Xol's procced, hit that, and I'm pretty sure no PvPer will stick around for 15 seconds just hovering around you, waiting for your cooldowns to come back up, waiting for your health to regenerate. They'll be out of combat still, so they'll have lost all their stacks of repair crews, etc., and they'll just get bored and leave. So yeah, if that's, you know, if you've got that console, yeah, please, you know, go ahead, use it. It's a pain in the backside, but I normally use my Resolve console because I have Invincible. Failing that, as a Federation or Romulan character, what you can use is Honored Dead. Now, even though it's been nerfed quite heavily, literally by 50%, just a few days after its release, it's still a pretty decent trait to have. Gives you plus 10 damage resistance per stack and a rating of 1% health regeneration, up to 20 stacks again for an infinite duration. So after this is fully stacked out, you will have a very high damage resistance. I think I've capped myself out on this ship at around about 94-95% damage resistance, just with this and my DPRM. Doesn't seem to interact very well with the competitive 3-piece. I think this trait might override that. I've seen myself, without hitting all of my buffs, have a higher damage resistance with the competitive 3-piece than I do without it and having Honored Dead. But when everything all comes together, I do have a higher damage resistance rating with all of my buffs and Honored Dead activated. But still, you know, if you don't have Xol, it's a good trait. Now, go for the kill. This comes from the Jem'Hadar Strike or Recon ships, the tier 6 bug ships. When firing cannon, well, when you're activated, you cannon rapid fire and you get a critical hit with it, you increase the duration of that rapid fire by 3 seconds. Can occur once every 5 seconds. It's pretty much 100% uptime on your rapid fire. But again, not everybody has this. So yeah, there are alternatives. As you can see, I've taken actually the NX trait off. Preferential targeting, which is when I said earlier about having fire at will on still, needs to be changed. It does give a big boost to category 1 damage for your cannons when activating fire at will, if you're using rapid fire, or if you're using scatter volley. It gives you a big damage bonus to your beam overload. But for now, I've taken it off in lieu of this, harrying manoeuvres. Now, activating emergency power to engines, like so, or any pilot bridge officer ability, like 1 or 2. Increases your accuracy rating as well as your armor pen and shield pen. So as you can see, going down to my ship, let's get something activated. 1 second. So boom, 157% accuracy before lambda, before batteries. Lasts for a few seconds. If you time this right, folks, you're going to be hitting high numbers for accuracy. But as you've just seen, it does have a cooldown. Once per 20 seconds. So I mean, you can get it all timed right and focused right. So once you hit your tap pattern omega, 30 seconds later your lambda is going to be available. You know, your power to engines once every 15 seconds is going to be available. So yeah, and again once every 15 or so seconds for your pilot team, and once every minute for your batteries. So if you time it right, you can have extremely high accuracy, as well as activating your domino console, um, which will give you a big boost to damage as well. If you hit your DPRM, you know, if you hit this with your alpha, with all that accuracy, you're going to have extremely high numbers. Bearing in mind that the battery, as far as I know, still doesn't show up on your skill set, on your accuracy rating here, and the highest accuracy rating I've seen is about 102. That's with lambda and everything all involved. So yeah, it's a pretty decent trait. Plus you get the penetration from it. Again, another free trait, Cold Hearted from the Breen Raider. Up to 50%, minus 50 damage resistance rating on your target. After activating Oxtabat or any pilot bridge officer ability, and that can stack up again pretty fast. You know, it's like somebody at Cryptic has seen builds like mine and thought, oh, you know what, let's give Escort some love, let's give Oxtabat some love, oh, let's give pilot abilities some love, and they've produced 2 fantastic traits for PvP escorts. I'm expecting that to be it now for the next 10 years. You know, PvP escorts aren't going to have any sort of love at all for quite a while after this, I'm guessing. But maybe, we'll see. Okay, so if you don't happen to have an NX or a tier 6 bug ship or a Zal, there are alternatives. So again, energy weapon cycle is a pretty decent trait. I've taken it off because I've got to make sacrifices. Vulcan Hello is good, only when you first enter combat. So if you're constantly going in and out of combat, getting out of red alert, i.e. if you are a Vapor, that would be a good trait for you. See, Subwarp Sheath from the Science Pilot Escort, you know, up to plus 20 armor pen. No, is that 20? Is that 15? Yes, plus 15 armor pen when you're at, you know, full speed, which when you're buffed up, you will be, you know, so you'll have to hit a power 2 engines just to get the full 15% armor pen out of it. Again, let's throw Honoured Dead in there because we spoke about that earlier. Predictive algorithms, again, it's another cleanse. It adds accuracy when activating your weapon enhancements. So again, even without preferential targeting, it might be an idea to use that as well. Again, doesn't show on the accuracy rating, but that's mainly because I didn't activate the traits. Okay, moving on from that one. Pick and choose, guys, pick and choose. There are some fantastic traits out there, and it's just all about having fun, finding out what works for you, and just seeing how it goes. Test it, change it, push it to its limit, and that's how you improve in the game. That's how you progress in the game. That's personally where I find my enjoyment, finding out little things, tweaking little bits. Again, these Starship traits are no way, shape or form definite. I may decide later on today I'm going to change these all around for other traits, but for now they work for me. Yeah, I'm just going to see how this goes. The accuracy, I think I'm going to pretty much keep harrying manoeuvres. It's between, I guess, cold-hearted, maybe invincible to throw back on my preferential targeting trait. I did try yesterday to remove go for the kill. No, would be my answer to that one. If you do have it, don't try it. There's a reason why it's one of the most expensive lockbox ships in the game. It's not just because it's rare. It's not just because of the hanger pets you get for the Jem'Hadar Dreadnought carrier. It's possibly the best rapid fire trait you can have in the game, and pairing that up with preferential targeting, if you can do it, by all means, you know, find a way. So yeah, let's I'm going to keep on testing with these and see how we go on. Finally, skills. These are unchanged since the last video. Again, all I can say is play with them, change them about. You don't have to go, when you start a new tree, you see, you know, all these empty spaces. Right, I'll go 3 into this one, 3 into this one, blah blah blah. Just put 1 or 2 in each until you unlock the next tier. Just keep doing that until, and then at the end you'll have, you know, you'll have a few spares, and then you can go back, look, and tweak and see where you may be able to compromise and remove some skill points and add in other places. Previous generations of this build have had 3 points in training, projectile training. Again, I could probably respec this and drop projectile weapon training because I don't use torpedoes on this build. I don't have any kinetic damage at all on this build anymore, with the Voice of the Prophets being a physical damage weapon. So again, something else I can even go back and look at. I've reduced my speed with the impulse expertise down to 1 point in there, because 2-3 points on this build was pointless. I've got so many different things that affect my speed that I was able to alter my skill tree and fine tune it around the ship rather than around an array of ships. So yeah, go for it, guys. Take whatever ship you've got to your limit. Message me in game, Matt at Matt Doody. All of my contact details for in game, the SRS Facebook group. I'll link them in the description for you guys to come and see what we do. Come see how we do things. Come see how I do things. There are, you know, we're updated daily. We have a website, srs-fleet.net. Again, that'll be down in the description. Please come and check us out. There are builds in there. We have activities going on. We have competitions. We have giveaways on a regular basis. Yeah, so again, any questions, come find me in game. And yeah, until next time, folks, that's Matt Doody signing out.